Don't blink, it's your boy Ink and it's extremely loud neighbors. But usually I have the loud neighbors, so can I really complain? And the answer is not. Today we're talking about a very specific topic. It is about a content creator, something I don't do often. That's not true. I do it often for content creator that I adore, content creator that I watch a lot. So we did a lot for DSP, for Boogie. Today we're about to do a new content creator that I'm not gonna follow. I'm not gonna talk about him on a daily basic, on a weekly basic, on a monthly basic, maybe on a yearly basic, who knows. But it's actually fousey. Now, of course I don't want to make this video, but I have to make it because it's a fictionary tale. It's a tale that will help us to the future. One of my favorite subjects in high school was history. People are saying, how can you love history? It's so boring. No. We're all humans. Somebody made a mistake. It's not because somebody made a mistake 100 years ago, right? That you're not going to make the same mistake. However, if you were knowledgeable on the mistake and the solution to the mistake, would you use it? Fousey is exactly that. So Fousey and I have weirdly a lot in common. You look at the date of birth of Fousey, the year of birth. No, not the year, the date. We're both born on 22nd January. Out of curiosity, I was starting to be big on social media. And I got cocky. Who wouldn't be? And I look up this famous people on my birthday. By the way, we're playing. You're gonna see me looking here a lot because we're playing 2 games and it's a tournament, so I kind of have to do good. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? Right? Right. So, long story short, Fousey was huge. Huge. And I'm talking Among Us. When YouTube not necessarily first started, but at the beginning, it was doing some joke content, some frank content. I was into that, right? I didn't have, first of all, I didn't have Wi-Fi, which you heard me say 1,000 times. I was watching AGP, and because I didn't have Wi-Fi, only having one channel to watch was not enough because I was watching one video every 2-3 days. And then I went to the apartment. The apartment, I didn't have Wi-Fi because I wasn't gonna work. I come from a very, very, very how can I say that? I come from a very kind of strict background. Not the strictest, but strict, nonetheless. So when I finally have the place, when I finally have the space to do whatever the fuck I wanted, of course I did whatever the fuck I wanted. Who wouldn't do whatever the fuck they wanted? And working wasn't on the plan. Eventually I work, of course. But then I had a store next to my house and high Wi-Fi. So of course I went there. And because I went there, I was able to download. So I watched a lot of AGP. Watched a lot of movies because back then YouTube was not as strict as the copyright system as it has right now. I was watching a lot of things. A lot of things. And eventually I started working. And then I was more podcast than anything else. And that story is a weird one because I told you already everything that you need to know. I told you about I told you about 3 things. My lousy ass neighbor. The fact that I was on YouTube when I started listening to podcasts. What podcast was there back then on YouTube? If you're saying the H3H3, I'm gonna shake your hand. Holy shit. Are you loud enough, my dude? Fuck. The H3H3 podcast. Now the craziest thing happened. The craziest thing happened. I've heard of Fousey, but and I don't mean this to be in a bad fashion. I never listened to Casey. I never listened to Ramen Atwood. Never listened to Girlfriend versus Boyfriend. Never listened to Fousey. I don't think so. So I started watching the H3 stream. My last job, I was there for 6 years. What happened 6 years ago? Well, around 6 years ago. There you go. There you freaking go. We finished one of the playthrough because we're playing the new game, The Tower. So this is pretty fucking good. We're done. No, I need to do this one. That's it. July 15th happened. And you guys are not gonna believe this, but I don't care if you don't believe it. I start work. I think it was the 18th, the 19th of July, 2020. No, not 2020, but it was a couple of days after the 15th of July. And I have an 8-hour shift. And I'm finding this podcast that's 4 hours long. With fousey. HH3. Fousey, Adam, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't HH3, it was No Jumper. With No Jumper, you're right. Yeah. With Adam, with fousey. With Shane Dawson too. The fuck? That was it. Then the first thing happened. Mr. fousey. So eventually, out of curiosity, I went to check out the channel. I want to see the highs and lows. Now, if I watch fousey since then, not really. If I paid attention to fousey since then, not really. To me, he gave up, right? He came back in shape. I was like, wow, the dude. And I really respected fousey. I really respected him. The dude. It was like fat. He gave up and he's back. I respect that shit. I respect that a lot. But then again, what happened was, I don't remember if it was a fight. I don't remember what happened, but he gave up once again. And then he gained back the weight. And for some reason, fousey disappeared. He came back to streaming about a year ago. Now, at that time, I was working a lot. I had a bunch of new YouTubers I was watching. Didn't care about fousey. However, fousey was bringing a lot of views, a lot of attention out of the drama channel and shit like that. So it was a lot of things that were on fousey. And again, he got intern. Now, at this time, it was the third time I even heard of him get intern. We all remember the airport fiasco, right? And I feel bad because... my apologies. It's not necessarily the amount of time that you go down. It's how fast you can get back up. Not necessarily how often you fall or fail. Is how often you succeed after failing. So fousey, after the 3 times that he gave up, I'm like, dude, something is not right here. And I'm gonna have to agree. I never do this, but I'm gonna have to agree with the general opinion, which is staying off of social media, right? It's possibly the best thing for him. I just watched, I think it was yesterday, because I was streaming Metaphore Fantasio for 6 hours, or 7 hours, I don't remember. Which is a great game, by the way. And I watched him getting arrested. I watched him going in a car and shaking the car. And just some crazy stuff. Now, you said that it's a character, it says for entertainment purpose. And if it is for entertainment purpose, it's going too far. It's going way too far. But then again, and I'm sorry to say, but people are not going to be happy about me saying this. But if you look at the prank era of YouTube, some of those pranks went too far. They went way too far. So right now, you know that I'm not a big fan of fousey. I'm not a big fan of what you present. I'm not a big fan of that. And also, I don't want to bring the religious aspect to it. But fousey use religion a lot. And you cannot go against religion because you're an asshole. But if somebody slaps you, and after that they swear they're religious, they still slapped you. You know? And then again, the people that fousey would go against were assholes. Bryce Hall, I knew next to nothing about him. Kind of an asshole. Deji, knew next to nothing about him. He was sort of an asshole. Who else? You know where I'm going. I think there's one big name out of the list. I'm not good with names, but something about Dan, something about the star. I deem maybe Keemstar, yeah. Keemstar, possibly. the biggest asshole in the platform. But all credit where it's due, an honest asshole. All credits where it's due, an asshole who exposed other asshole. All credits where it's due, a kind of an asshole with a code of moral. Now, I'll never respect an asshole, but I can tell you, I'll respect the shit out of somebody with morals. I respect the shit out of that. No question asked. And then went against him. And again, fousey. And the problem with fousey is also going to use mental health as an issue. You're acting like a jackass. Like I saw a stream yesterday, and I've been really paying attention to it. I'm gonna be going with that right after. I promise. I know it's a long video, but trust me, it's worth it, or not. And if it's not, then I'm sorry. I hope it is. I don't give a fuck if it is. For me, it is. See, he does think he blame mental health, but I saw a stream of him taking 7 mushrooms, and the bag was 7 mushrooms. Mushroom, which is an hallucinogenic drug, right? And the girl, she told him to take 2, and he's like, okay, what happened if I take the whole bag? I wouldn't do it. He does it, and he gets nervous that people think he's nuts. And he does those things. He's acting like an asshole. He's being a dick. He's firing people. And then I really start paying attention to fousey. There's another thing that I found with fousey. There's another thing. He always go with someone. Recently with Aiden, with Sneeko. Before that, he went with Jake Paul. Before that, he went with Adam Saleh. Before that, he went with Vitaly. Before that, he went with Roman. Now, I'm not the best when it comes to story. I'm not the best at analyzing. I'm not the best when it comes to friendship at all. Friendship. But when you have 8 friends, and the other friend with any of them, there's a reason why. The reason possibly is you. But why am I paying so much attention to fousey? I believe that we can gain a lot from the fousey example. I believe that even if it isn't an example to follow, there's limits. See, fousey always reach the top. Fousey is extremely, and I have to get to the guy, extremely entertaining. But it also comes at a price. You're going to go 1 month and it's going to be working 24 hours a day. 24-hour stream. 7 days a stream. A week. That's too much. And then he gets into mental states. Because of fatigue, because he's manic. And because you're manic, you don't sleep. The problem with you don't sleep, the first night, you're good. Second night, you're good too. But then there's somewhere in the 3rd day, somewhere if you're more resistant, under 4 days, doesn't matter when it happen, it'll happen. We crash out. And your body is led by your brain. And so sometimes when you dish your brain, it doesn't know your body's in pain. That's like when people look crazy. And then they sleep, they're good. Fousey has the potential, and he showed and he proved that he could have been the biggest YouTuber, the biggest content creator in. Often he did. Top 1, top 2, top 3. But it's also as how much content is too much. How much should I show? There's a lot of things that came out with fousey that are extremely horrible. Prostitution, drug abuse, taking advantage of a person that was involved in sex trafficking. And you realize that he's exposing all that, but he's exposing himself. And then you've seen that small channel like me, who does mention too much information about himself. I do mention a lot. I do yap a lot. In case you didn't notice, I hope you did though. And it's a cautionary tale of, yeah, maybe should be more careful about how I present myself in front of the camera. Then you see a lot of the content creators that are still there. I've been a master at a on-camera, off-camera persona. Separating their life, which fousey is never able to do. And lastly, mental state. should I go on social media? And again, it's not a criticism. This is not against fousey. This is a general rule of thumb. It's a general, I guess I could call it concept, right? The general concept. And that general concept is kind of simple. That general concept is, if I know I'm not mentally stable, if I'm going through shit, am I able to be on social media? And then the answer is, of course, yes. I should be on social media. No, that's a different thing. Should I be able to create? And then again, the answer is yes. The answer is, of course. You should be allowed freedom of speech, of course. And then the last question happens. That's the important question. What if I'm a big content creator? What if I'm a big content creator and what I say or what I do have a lot of power, and I can influence the things to do in the wrong way? So we're gonna take somebody like Andrew Tate, and I know a lot of people don't like Andrew Tate, but if you listen to Andrew Tate, there's a lot of things that he says that are kind of right. There's a lot of things that he says that are making sense. The guy is not the best communicator. The guy is not the best at expressing himself. But there's a lot of things that he says that is kind of cool. Do I agree with what he's saying that he said? No. There's something that he says. Yes. Mental health. Men need for a stronger society. A stronger need of men who are able to deal with conflicts. I'm saying that. Am I trying to say that women cannot deal with the conflicts? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if there was a conflict in my life, I for sure wanted to be able to take care of it. Where am I going with this? Well, Andrew Tate, what he said was only a problem because he had such a reach. Fousey mental health is only a problem if you had mental, because he had such a reach. I'm going to say something that is very, very, very horrible. And I'm sorry in advance, and I'll get in trouble. I'll possibly have my non-existent channel cancel. I'm going to be honest. There's this content creator. I don't even know her name, dude. She unlived herself recently. I'm thinking this month or maybe last month. And nobody knew her. Very small channel. And the saddest thing is when she died, right? Nobody was aware, nobody knew. If fousey does something like that, people are gonna talk about it like crazy. And what I mean also by that is you're a motivation, inspiration for our people. If your hero, if you're a young kid and your role models are falling and they're falling to being unalive themselves, there's a part of you that's gonna believe that is the answer. The reach is a big thing. That's my opinion on the fousey thing. Anywho, I love you guys. Take it easy. I want to finish with something better than that. See, the thing with fousey is, it always feels like that. It's a car crash. It's a car crash. And the whole thing with fousey is the car crash. So when he is at his peak, when he's fucking popular, the car's burning. And you see flames, and you're like, oh my god, there's firefighters, they're gonna be okay. And at the end, you're looking at a carcass of a car that was burned. And you just realize that you watched somebody destroy himself, he didn't do anything. For the sake of entertainment. Yeah. I hope you enjoy entertainment.